What's up YouTube, Dell here from Zephyr, and today on this video we are going to be doing a discussion with the live viewers as well as you guys at home, talking through the possible predictions for the upcoming Forbidden Unlimited list. Now we don't know exactly when that is going to drop. Keep in mind that we do have a lot of big events still to come. So they've just put in place the new time rules and the new end of match procedure and the new top 8 cut. The first big event that we have here in the UK or in Europe in general will be YCS Lille, which is in 3 weeks time. And in 2 weeks time, we also have the sneak peek event for Doom of Dimension. So I would be very surprised if it happens exactly before YCS Lille, but then it wouldn't be the biggest shock ever, because then it would definitely shift the game around a little bit for Doom of Dimension set to take its rightful place. But I feel that it wouldn't be advised to drop it on like that early, because then it would push a lot of people into Doom of Dimensions, which comes out the week of YCS Lille. I feel that we could very easily see YCS Lille under the same current list, and then after that is when a list is implemented. Heck, they might try and reveal it at YCS Lille like they do with the other American YCSs. That kind of seems to be a theme that they look to do a little bit more now, that to present them as a YCS is something that's a little bit more spectacular. And I do really like it that way, because I feel it definitely gets a lot of people watching the YCSs. I don't know if I'd like them to do it. I suppose it's good to do it after the final as well, because then everyone is stage tuned for it. So I think that's really kind of cool. Whether they'll do it in a European event will yet to be seen, because the last two have happened at an American event, and I do believe there are some American events coming up as well. Not to mention YCS 300, but that's like next year. Anyway, I have a range of cards, as you can see in front of us. Now, as I mentioned previously, for those of you watching online, I'm just going to repeat myself, but I've kind of tried to put them in like batches. And what I mean by that of being in batches is I don't expect changes to happen to all three of these cards. I would expect that through the Malice strategy, something would happen. Through the Fiendsmith package, something may happen. Not saying that we're going to go ban, 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 or limit, 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 or ban, ban, and limit, but one or the other, I feel, could be a logical hit to that particular engine, deck, you name it. So hopefully that's kind of cleared it up. Let's go through what we've got here. I'll kind of drop into the chat here and there when we kind of talk about it and go from there. So let's start off with Malice. Now, just because they're top of the list, right, they're nice and easy. Malice. Now, what I did with this is I asked a lot of people at locals. I was like, what would you like to see change? Like, what could you see logically happening? What could you see logically getting changed? Now, I know all three of these have just been reprinted in the Megatins. We had a secret rare in the White Binder, we had a secret rare in Dormouse, and then we had a common in Heart's Crypta. So if you want to fall down the point of, well, lower rarity probably leads to a more logical ban or a more logical change, then maybe Heart's Crypta gets the ban. Now, I'm not opposed to Heart's Crypta being a ban, because it is basically their own inner archetypal access code, which is completely crazy. Which is where I can see the logic coming to it, that if they were to hit anything on the Malice strategy, they could do that. I personally don't think they're going to touch the main decks. Like, the main decks are inconsistent enough as it is. I would personally feel that they could hit or ban one of these two, being either White Binder or Heart's Crypta. I could more logically see Heart Crypta being banned, which is why I'm going to put the more logical ones to the left-hand side. Then I could see White Binder getting hit, but that's kind of down to preference. So Brian has said, call me crazy, but I don't see any ban-worthy cards beside the Floodgates everyone knows. So in regards to like Floodgates, they're always a very interesting approach, because I don't feel that Konami could completely go and wipe every Floodgate off the system, because would you count Droll and Lockbird as a Floodgate? I count Protoss as like a Floodgate. Rivalry, Gozen, there can only be one. They're all Floodgates. I could see those maybe getting banned, but you just never know. I see that, like, technically Harpy's Featherstorm is a Floodgate, like that. I don't like cards that skip your entire turn, like stuff like DDD Yugioh. The only reason cards like that's still running around is because very few decks can actually play them, and then they get brought into the limelight for a little bit and then get taken away. So that's kind of like my opinions on Floodgates. I feel that Droll, Fuelos, maybe, if you want to consider that as like a Floodgate-esque card, they're kind of like necessities or required elements of the format and the game that we play. But that's just the overall opinion and kind of like thoughts from other players as well. So with the Malice cards, I don't think, personally, I feel you're either going to get a ban on Heart's Cryptor or a ban on White Binder. I don't think the deck deserves to be killed. I don't think Risia or Mitsurugi's or anything like that deserves to get completely neutered. But I can see something possibly happening. So, Paired Ice Smasher, 100% agree with you. Paired Ice Smasher is a turn skip card. It should be getting banned. And like, I'm not even going to waste on this one. Paired Ice Smasher, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Like, my issue with Paired Ice Smasher is it rewards lazy duelists. Like, duelists don't need to make Pair Smasher. You could pretty much still win the duel with those 3 level 5 monsters you're presenting to your field by going into maybe like a Ripper and something else. You don't need to go Paired Ice Smasher. They go into Paired Ice Smasher because it is an easy win button and it's just not really worth it. But not the link 4. So Heart Scriptor isn't link 4. Heart Scriptor is also link 3. They're both as easy to make as the other. The only difference is Heart Cryptor requires 3 specific monsters, whereas the White Binder requires a 2 and a 1. So with that, the Heart Cryptor would be more logical because it wouldn't really... Like, I feel that White Binder would be a harsher hit than Heart Cryptor. Because without Heart Cryptor, you just go, okay, cool, go into... you have to then focus on going into Access Code Talker. But the fact that you could go into Heart Cryptor, then Access Code Talker, and Access Code Talker banish the Heart Cryptor, bring back Heart Cryptor at 5k, that then has the ability to put a card back to then banish is just absolutely crazy. So, I mean, it's not completely interesting that they've reprinted them. They have done this before. But it is also one of the ones where I would probably lean towards, like, the possibility of a common card getting hit over anything else. But that being said, I feel one card that is missing on this list actually that might be something that is a bit more of a logical one is that's not going to help me at all. This is another card that was brought up as a possible hit. I could actually see, so I feel that they could hit cards that aren't directly involved with the archetype. And what I mean by that is, oh, don't do that. What I mean by that is that the right one? Yeah. What if they banned Splash Mage? Now, don't get it wrong, Splash Mage would be a collateral damage of other Cyverse style decks. But what if, like you've just mentioned, Brian, that because they've reprinted them in the tins, that they don't touch them and they go for something that isn't Malice orientated. So you still can make Malice, you just make them a little bit more vulnerable to certain interactions. Just going to throw that question out there. Anyway, moving on to the Fiendsmith package. Now, again, I always get this question. So, Moon, there's no point in limiting it, semi-limiting it, or anything like that. You would only ban Moon. Like, you literally ban Moon or you don't touch it. I feel that Moon is the most logical to get a hit. And what I mean by that, and I'm just going to move these two over here as well, because these are kind of connected. What I mean by that is, yes, I know a lot of people are like, well, they just make Exton Knight. I'm like, yes, but only a rank 4 deck makes Exton Knight. Yes, they just make the rank 3 Jin. I'm like, yes, but only the rank 3s can make that. When you look at stuff like Muskets that just got a brand new card revealed in the OCG today, they just don't need Moon. Like, Moon is not needed. Moon is the equivalent of, like, Verte Anaconda. It's the equivalent of... And Verte Anaconda gave you one summon and that is it. So, I'm happy for them to leave Fiendsmith alone if they get rid of Moon. I'm not saying they will, but I feel that Fiendsmith will be one of those engines, and I've kind of said to people before, I feel that Fiendsmith could become the new, like the new adventure package. And what I mean by that is, like, technically, everyone could play it as an engine in their deck, like a 10-card engine in their deck that would get them to, not so much an Omni Negate, but could get them to something like the DDD Highwave King Caesar, which can then become a disruption. So again, this is where Moon, Tract, Lacrima, Engraver, and DDD Highwave King is going to sit. Like, I'm not saying they're going to hit all of them. I'm going to give you my reasons of why they could hit them, and then how logical a hit like that could be. So, start with Tract. I don't think Tract gets touched at all. I think Tract gets left at 3. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Tract because Tract is insane in Dark World. Like, I would play free Tract in Dark World. I would play free Tract in Fabled. Like, if anything, Tract is the only card that is the most flexible for all the rogue decks, because you just go Lacrima, off you go. Now, you still have Requiem, which could be arguably looked at, but I think they'd be crazy to hit Requiem, because Requiem is what lets the Fiendsmith engine do. Now, I have no issue with the early stages of the Fiendsmiths. The early stage of the Fiendsmith is absolutely fine. I don't mind their graveyard recursion because they're not really threatening me. The worst thing they can do is either DDD Highwave King Caesar, which I'll talk about in a second, or they go into Desiree, which I don't mind because Desiree's only going to have one negate. Yes, it's annoying when it can't be targeted. Yes, Agmonde can make it an OTK enabler. I don't really mind that because for them to get to it, they have to go through Requiem, which is Aspate. They have to get through Engraver and Sequence, which are both Bell baits. Sequence is Veiler bait, Imperm bait, like any type of negation bait, and it stops it going through. And Lacrima is also bait for all of that as well. So to be honest, I have no issue with that. I have no issue with Engraver staying it as it is. That doesn't really bother me. Doesn't really bother me. Lacrima is going to be a very, very interesting one. Now, Lacrima only really has presence to come back because of the current time rules or the current end of procedure rules. I would only be happy for this to come back at 1, 2, 3, don't really bother me, if Highwave King got banned. And the reason for that is it should not be so easy to get into a Highwave King, which basically gets to use this effect twice. It's worse than Desiree in my opinion, because it just goes, rather than negate once, that's it, and I can't be targeted, it goes negate, negate. And it's like, I know it's only cards that are going to summon into a monster, and it might be a little bit, this is where you're a little bit wrong, Fallen. So I'll talk to you about that in a second. So Fallen has basically said, with Doom of Dimension coming out, Highwave King isn't getting touched. The best thing about this is, DDDs do not care about Highwave King anymore. Their new starters and their Link 3 does everything that Highwave King Caesar does for DDDs. The whole point for Highwave King Caesar in DDDs would be a protection against Nibiru. They don't need that now because the Link 3 does the job. And it's a lot easier to summon, as I knock the light over, it's a lot easier to summon than the DDDs. Now don't think, because it's got new support, it won't get touched. Because trust me, they will if they feel it needs to be. I would not be surprised because the DDDs don't need to rely on it. If the DDDs needed to rely on it and it was a core card, I would completely agree with you. But the DDDs themselves, they don't really care. Like, you could get rid of it and it's not going to make people go, I'm not playing DDDs now because the new cards are that good. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm only saying you hit Highwave King Caesar if you bring back Lacrima. If you don't bring back Lacrima, then you can kind of keep DDD. I don't really want that to happen because, in my opinion, the Wave King, as I've already mentioned, is the worst thing to come out of the Fiendsmith package. That's the worst thing. Like, if my opponent tries to nib check me to go into DDD, and that's the other thing as well, is when you are using the Fiendsmith as a sub-engine, you're using it to nib check, which is kind of fine for the rogue decks, but it also puts you in a position where it's like, right, I'm going to nib check, and I'm either going to get nibbed and then continue to make an entire field anyway, or I'm not going to get nibbed, and I'm going to make a DDD Highwave King Caesar. And that's annoying to out. So, in all honesty, I wouldn't be shocked if it got banned. Wouldn't be shocked. So, okay, moving on to the next package. The next package is Masterpiece and Dragonic Diagram. Now, Masterpiece just got reprinted. I believe someone told me it was reprinted in Battles of Legend. I could be wrong on that one. But it also got reprinted in Rarity Collection 4. And Diagram just got reprinted in the Megatins of this year. So what I'm going to do, actually, where is Dark Matter? Dark Matter can go there. That can go there. What else was a banned card that just got reprinted in the Megatins? Was there anything else? I don't think there's anything else amongst these cards here, but I'll do all of these together in a second. So, again, with Masterpiece and Diagram, I think it's going to be one or the other. Honestly, I don't think Masterpiece changes. I think Masterpiece stays the same. I would love for Diagram to be semi-limited. Test it at semi-limit and then give it at free. And the reason I say that is that True Dracos get new support in Doom of Dimension. So that's a little bit different from the Highwave King, because the DDDs don't really need to rely on Highwave King, whereas Diagram will massively help the consistency of True Dracos. So, on the other side of that as well, someone did point out today, that the new TCG exclusive that we got in the Megatins, I did pick one up today. What is it called? Bear me 2 seconds. Just check I haven't. Yeah, cool. Where is? Bear me 2 seconds. I'm just trying to find it. Oh, I need to get a Whis. Did I not pick up a Whis from anyone? Damn it. Oh well. Where are you? There's a secret. It must be amongst this stuff. Basically, the new Doom... Is it Doom Baroness? I want to call it Doom Baroness, but I know it's probably not called Doom Baroness. It's probably called something else. Aha, here's all my secrets. It is... There we go. Queen of the Blazing Domain. Okay? Queen of the Blazing Domain. I think it's actually a really kind of cool Draco card. So this one says, you can target up to 2 cards you control, including a face-up spell or trap, destroy them, and if you do, special on this card. If you destroyed 1 card, you return it to the hand during the end phase of the next turn. Or if you destroyed 2, this card gains the effect that any monster sent from the field to the opponent's graveyard is banished instead. So you basically get like a one-sided macro for True Draco, which would be not cool, but I could see it happening. So Seabro has also said new decks need to touch a slight bit. These types of hits were due a month ago. I completely agree, and we'll talk about the new stuff in a minute. Okay, so other cards that are reprinted in the Megatins. Not so much banned cards that are reprinted, but like obviously this is currently limited. Dark Matter Dragon. I honestly don't think it can come back, but I feel that one of these two could to help promote the Rockets. But I also feel that if we're going to talk about promoting Rockets, this is where your White Wyvern, Black Collapse, and Chaos Space come into play. So someone else actually mentioned Chaos Space to me, and even borrowed Savage Dragon. So still sending 5 dragons can be pretty busted. If anything was to happen, I can see them coming back to limited, and I could see the Black Collapse and White Wyvern can come back to free. I don't feel that they would do... I don't think they would do this, and this. I think we could see one of these happening. Most logically will be these coming back. So I'm just going to put them that way. Most logically would be Black Collapse and White Wyvern. And then as a possibility, maybe Chaos Space. I say no change. What am I talking about? That comes back to free. There we go. Those go back to free. And then maybe one of these 2 cards. I only really like this in Punks. But then I know Dragonlink abused it to a heck. So... I don't think Savage is coming back, but I wouldn't be completely shocked if it did come back, if that makes sense. Like, if it came back, sure. Not going to roll with it. This card's so long overdue. Like, it's not legal, is it? Let me just double check this one. I'm 99% sure that isn't... Can't spell to save my life right now. Is Summon Sort back? I don't think... Is it limited? I can't remember, if I'm being honest. No, it's still banned. It's still banned, right? This card has to come back, right? This card had its errata. I'm pretty sure we've had options to print it, but it can't come back until have we had it... Yeah, so it was reprinted in Battles of Legend Monster Mayhem, right? It still says America only. Was it an American exclusive or something? Either way, like, this card can come back. Yeah, I completely get you, Zula. Yeah, I liked it in Light Swans, I liked it in Punks, and I would love this card to come back to 1 at least. But, I mean, if I had to choose what I would want back, I would want this card back. This would be the card that I want back of all of them. Of all of these 4 cards, I want this card. Of the card that I think is the most logical to come back, it's like one of these 2. Like, these 2 are well overdue from coming back. Oh, this one's well overdue for coming back. This can come back because of the new rules, but I still think it's way too easy to abuse. Yeah, I haven't opened up a lot of Battles of Legend, and even the Battles of Legend that I opened up today, not really anyone, did it. Okay, trying to move on because I've now been recording for 20 minutes, and we're a small handful in. Okay, so, Bestial, Magnuma, Druid Swarm. I mean, I don't think Druid Swarm... I think if anything... Original Sinful Spores. Do I think OSS will come back? Has anything changed? What's changed? Apart from like the general format, what has changed for OSS to now come back? What have I missed? I don't know if I missed anything. You'll have to let me know and I'll catch up in a second. So, Bestial Magnamut. So, Bestial Magnamut, I could see it getting banned. I honestly don't want it banned. Please don't ban it. I'm hoping and praying no change happens to it. But if I was to open up my laptop tomorrow and see Bestial Magnamut forbidden, I wouldn't be completely shocked. I'll be disappointed, but I wouldn't be completely shocked. But I'm hoping, praying, fingers crossed that there's no change whatsoever. Miscellaneous. I would love you to be free. I think there is the possibility it could become semi-limited. I don't think dinos are the way they used to be. Drow and Lockbird is still running around rampant force. I would love for it to come back to 2, if not more. So this is not so much a prediction. This is probably more of a wish list, but I also don't see an issue with it going there. Okay, new decks. Let's talk about some of the new decks, shall we? So Drones, Herald, and Obedient School are all focused on Yummy. That's what I'm going to talk about is the Yummy effect, okay? So, I'd rather they didn't hit Herald because I like that in some of my other decks, and I really do like it in Necros and everything else. So for me, don't touch Herald. Like, you can take Drones, you can take Obedient School, don't take Herald. But I do fully understand that if I am facing down a Herald, Herald sucks. Because Herald being a macro Cosmo sucks. I can't deal with it if I'm trying to play Dracotals. So if it was to get banned, I wouldn't be surprised. I would rather it didn't though. So wishful thinking, it doesn't go here. Now, I can see drones getting hit. Now, the reason that I can see drones getting hit is because, again, quite like DDD Highwave King Caesar, strikers don't actually care about drones. Like, strikers are like, take it or leave it with drones. Like, I take it, I leave it. I don't really mind. When does it come out? We don't know when it will come out. We have no idea when it will come out. There is no notification, no direct date or anything else like that. So, yeah, I personally feel that it could be afforded to wait until after YCS Lille. I feel you could wait until after YCS Lille and go from there. Yeah, surely school gets limited to 1. That's why the reprint. Yeah, I mean, drones also got the same reprint. It just didn't get the collector's rare upgrade. But yeah, I would believe that Obedient School can become limited or drones gets banned. I think one or the other will happen, or the Herald. I don't want the Herald. I think this is the most logical, but Herald also got reprinted as a rare in that set as well. So if they're like, we reprint in collector's rare, we're not going to ban anything, then Paired Ice Smasher isn't going anywhere. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if either of these got basically. So will it be for the TCG? We're only talking about TCG right now, but the OCG haven't had one for a while, have they? I don't know when the OCG's last. No, the last one did. The last one they banned Paired Ice Smasher, right? So. Okay, King of the Feral Imps. Now, King of the Feral Imps, I'm going to put with Prayers and we'll put with Detonator because they're kind of all encompassed with the whole Mitsurugi, Ryziel, Detonator, and everything else in between. So, again, this is going to be a one or the other scenario. When will the ban list even drop? I don't know. Like I said at the start, my hunch is that it will come after. Again, so Caesar and Moon, you think would argue that Moon is enough. So this is where you're joining late. So for a recap for everyone, this is not a complete list. I'm not rising up to it. I'm just explaining so that everyone is up to date. And this isn't an argument. This is just me saying, come on, justify it. Like let's have a general conversation. That's what I want about these. Like if I wanted no one to respond and no one to have conversations with, in regards to this, I would just do what every other Yu-Gi tuber does and just goes, here's my list, no explanation. I just think this is what should happen. And then expect people to take it as gospel. But I don't like that. I like to have general conversations back and forth. So this list is not a whole list. So when you look at DDD Highwave King and you look at Closed Moon and you look at Lacrima and Engraver and Tract, it would be one of them. I agree with you completely. There is no way they're going to hit everything that I'm putting up on this list. They are going to need to choose, which is why I'm saying it will either be drones, obedient schooled, or herald. I can't imagine they're going to hit anything yummy directly. That would be absolutely crazy. I can see them justifiably hitting a card that has just been reprinted as a low rarity card, or also a card that has been around for so many years that would weaken the current state of the decks. That's kind of where we're getting from. I'm really wishing Konami didn't stagger their unlimits. Diagram from 1 to 3 would be alright. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. Off of like past examples and experiences, they do tend to stagger them. They do tend to go 1 to 2. Is that too much? No? Okay, to 3. Away, 3 was too much. We'll bring it back to 2. Which I kind of don't mind, but I don't really want to wait so much. Anyway, so when do I think it will drop? I personally think it will drop after YCS Lille. I think that makes the most sense because you get Doom of Dimension. You see how the new Doom of Dimension cards affect the decks. Not saying that lists are predicted then and there, but like if they were to do it after YCS Lille, they could do it like the 1st or 2nd week of October and kind of go from there. That's where I would see it happening. Like the 1st or 2nd week of October, you've had a YCS under new rules. You've had a YCS with Doom of Dimension, Mitsurugi Risials, Malice, and Justice Hunters. And then kind of go from there. And then it will give you a little bit more as well. It will give you a little bit more justification as to why you would hit, like, why you could then feel, right, we can actually hit yummy cards. Or, like, not yummy cards directly, but cards that are involved in yummies. So, I built Mitsurugi when it came out because I loved the lore in Japanese mythology. I hated it when everyone played it because it became the best deck. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Mitsurugis themselves, and I also like the fact that Mitsurugis are like all really cheap to get. Like, apart from the Mitsurugi Ritual, which was really cheap at the start and then just went through the roof because of popularity, that's kind of where it made it a little bit more. Anyway, let's get back to this. So, Prez. Prez is another, I think, I wouldn't say collateral damage, but Prez, in my opinion, is one of the best cards in the entire Mitsurugi strategy because it lets it play through so much. Now, someone else actually did also say Preparation of Rites, which isn't the worst shout. I could see them hitting Preparation of Rites or this. I think the King of the Feral Imps is only because it's a bridge. It's a bridge in the Risial matchup, right? Like, do you need, like, if the Risials become dead, do you need the King of the Feral, like, does King of the Feral Imp make that big of a deal? Because you're already in pure Mitsurugi. You're not playing that many of the level 4s, right? So, I don't know. King of the Feral Imps is a bit of a grey one for me. I feel that it could be further down this. I don't feel that banning it is that big of an issue. I feel that people will then just go, cool, let's play pure Mitsurugi rather than the Risial hybrid. But, you know, Prep is weak to Droll. So if they were to hit anything... Again, I completely agree. Don't hit Prep because, again, I like to play ritual style decks that utilize Prep. So I don't want any collateral damage. I'd much rather you hit problem cards that are direct for archetypes than you would hit collateral damage decks. I am 100% with you on that one. So I feel, if anything, Prez could become limited. Like, that would be my logical shout. If someone said, you can change one card from every main meta deck, what would it be? Well, between Prez, Detonator would be banned. Like, you're not going to do anything else with it. Detonator, King of the Pharaoh, and Prez, I would say limit Prez. And then you get to keep these two. Like, okay, that's fine. Keep both of those. Doesn't bother me. With Yummy, again, I would say you get rid of one of these, and then the rest you get to keep. So, yeah, I agree. I don't think King of the Feral Imps will get hit either. Actually, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to actually put King of the Feral Imps down to no change. I don't think King of the Feral Imps is that big of an issue. I think Detonator is a bigger issue, and I think if you hit Detonator, is there any real reason to play Risial anymore, right? Like, the only thing you do with Risial is just hit Brain. You just play X, right? That's kind of like what you would do. Imps just came out in Starlight. It doesn't matter because, like, keeping in mind that Imps came out in Starlight in Battles of Legend, which was due out last month, right? So they're not going to have delayed a list because we only just get Battles of Legend. And it wouldn't be the first time. Like, I've seen decks get hit when they've just had a card printed in Ulti. Like, Snake Eyes Ash, right, was printed in Ulti, and then the Snake Eyes deck got hit. So, like, it's kind of hit or miss. Okay, C104. C104. The only logic behind C104 being banned, it has to be banned. They're not going to limit it or anything. That's just completely pointless. The only reason behind C104 getting banned is because it hasn't been reprinted. So it's kind of like, well, we don't need to reprint it. We ban it. I don't think it's that good of a card. Like, I think Nash Knight, leaving Nash Knight on the field with the ability to double absorb, like absorb once and then absorb again, is actually more annoying to deal with than C104. I also feel that if C104 gets banned, people just jump onto the C101. Like, honestly, I wouldn't, like, it would get banned, but I don't think it's going to get touched. Then again, ripping a card from hand and halving your opponent's life points is disgusting. But I think you can also play for it. I agree. Detonator hit would be crazy. So I keep doing this. I keep like putting them where I think they should or where they could go. So this is where I think they could go. This is what I think will actually happen. Like, I don't. Between one of these two, something will happen, but not both. But I agree with you. Like, I don't think they will ban Detonator, but you know, kind of give or take. Gets destroyed at the end of turn 2. What gets destroyed? The C104. Is it C104? Yeah, I mean, the half of life points is going to be like... is the half... It should have just been a negate. Why did it have to be half life points and rip a card? I know it's an old card, but half life points and rip a card. Bruh. Okay. Carrying on. Let's talk about Barrier Statue of Torrents. So again, Barrier Statue of Torrents, it's not going to be limited. It would only be banned. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. Like, this is what should happen to it. That's probably what's going to happen to it. Like, I just don't think it gets banned, okay? I don't think it does. But that's kind of what it would be. Oh, it's an anime card. Go. Protoss has to be banned. Protoss just has to be banned. Why it was brought back, I'll never know. The card, like, I get it. I do get it, right? Like, it shouldn't be as easily to summon as people can make it happen. But it is one of the cards. The fact that Banshee searches out Flag is a free extender that searches out Protoss, is crazy. Like, back in the day, you had, like, when I was playing Thunder Dragons with the Nemesis, you had to play free Flag, free Corridor. And I did that because Corridor could become a Thunder Dragon Titan, a Colossus, but we didn't even have Colossus at that time. They just became extenders that let me put my banished cards back into the deck. Whereas now, it's like, yeah, you want a Protoss? Just play a rank 4 deck. Like, Banshee should not have been as easy to make as it was. Crazy. And the fact it searched out any Pyro, wild. Protoss should get banned. If it doesn't get banned, it's because it's not in the limelight. Not because it doesn't deserve to get banned, because it sure as heck does. But if it doesn't get banned, it means it's not in the limelight. That's literally it. Yeah, do I think they could hit it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I wouldn't be... Again, it's one of them ones that if I woke up and it was like, Protoss is banned, I'd be like, yeah, okay, makes sense. And if I woke up and it wasn't banned, I'd be like, okay, sure. So, that was one of the strangest... Everyone says that, but I've never played someone who has Protoss. Trust me, you don't want to, because Protoss it's meh going first. The only benefit of Protoss going first is you just call Dark, and you can shut out a decent chunk on a blind shout. But in the modern game, the fact that so many people, like so many of the high-end decks play during your turn. It's like, if anyone's playing Vanquish Roll K9s, or even playing like... It's like, there was someone today that was on Dracotal, and they play the Protoss in it, and Protoss, because obviously Dracotals are all different attributes. And the Protoss just comes down, and you call an attribute, and it locks it down. I don't think it's as broken as it can be in the current game state, but the fact that you can summon it and call Dark, like, it should never have been a Dark attribute itself. And it should never have been able to say it doesn't get destroyed by card effect. Like, that's just what? Like, why is there a card that exists that says summon me by banishing 3 different attributes from the grave and even 3 different types on the Eschatos side? Call a type or call an attribute. I will destroy all of that type or attribute on the field, and then neither player can summon them until the next turn. Like, if you were up against like Yugioh, for example, or Malice, you just go Protoss, Dark, and they're like, They don't play. They just don't play for 2 turns. And then it comes back to you. And if they haven't been able to either negate the Protoss or get rid of the Protoss, the Protoss just goes, dark. It's like, it might as well be a paired Ice Smasher. It might as well be. Like, and don't get me wrong, I've played Protoss. I've used Protoss. I used Protoss when it first was around in Sword Soul. Like I said, I used to play it in Thunder Dragons because it was fun to play in Thunder Dragons. And in Sword Soul, it was kind of like you had to play it because you had to make it, had to look at your opponent's like play and then move on from there. It's still a degenerate card. Like, I am open to admit the card is degenerate. Anyway. Actually, speaking of Protoss, Harpy's Featherstorm. My God, that card needs to be banned. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be here. But it should be banned. Like, this is pretty much the same as a Protoss. It just turn skips you. It's the same as a blimmin' Dice Smasher. It turn skips you and that's it. Spiral Resort. I think you could have that, to be honest. What else is on what else is on the ban list for spirals? Master Plan's banned, right? What else is with it? If anyone knows off the top of their head with spirals, what is it resorts at 1 and Master Plan is banned, right? But quick fixes back at 3. Yeah. I mean, I again, if I woke up and they banned this, I'd be like, yes, finally, thank you. But if they didn't, I'd be like, God damn it, really? But, you know, kind of is and is. Right, came in late. Why is DDD Highwave King CV other than being turboed out by Fiendsmith? That is the main reason. And so what I was trying to say here with DDD Highwave King Caesar is, and I've got to cover a lot of points, so don't put a comment in yet until I've ended the point, because then it will all make sense. If Lacrima comes back, you have to ban Highwave King Caesar. It should not be as easy to make a DDD Highwave King Caesar as it currently is. I still also feel that if Closed Moon is still active, and it is that easy for every deck to get into the DDD Highwave King Caesar, then Highwave King Caesar should get banned. Now, a counter argument a lot of people have said is, yes, but there is new DDD support. True, but DDDs only used to play Highwave King Caesar mainly as a way to stop Nibiru. They get a better replacement that is easier and more consistent to make in the form of the Link 3, which comes out with the new support. So arguably, Highwave King Caesar is a card they could do without and not miss it. So it's not a collateral hit to DDDs. It would be one of the ones that if Lacrima comes back, it's way too easy to make, it should go. It's also one of the ones that even if it doesn't come back, with everyone having Fiendsmith, Fiendsmith should not be an engine that nib checks. But that being said, unlike something like the Adventure Package, there are more ways to interact to stop it. I just feel that DDD Highwave King Caesar is crazy strong of a card, and I feel that it could possibly get hit. That's like kind of my reasoning behind it. So besides generic end board staples, it's just Master Plan banned. Oh, I thought the field spell was limit. Yeah, you can. I don't mind you having Master Plan back. So I agree. There will be, it's collateral damage. Like, Caesar collateral damage will be for like Unchained decks and kind of stuff like that. That being said, I still feel with Unchained, you would still be able to abuse the Fiendsmith package. I get that it's a protection from Nib, but I don't think we should be in a position where, because the issue is, if you make Highwave King Caesar, like if Highwave King Caesar nuked itself at the end of the turn, I'd be like, that's fine. I would much rather say to you, look, I'll tell you what, I will take Nib out of my main deck. You take Wave King out of your side deck. I guarantee I won't Nib you if that's what you want to use High Wave King Caesar for. But if your end field involves High Wave King Caesar plus a Desiree plus like a Rage and everything else, it's like, bro, that's painful. But yeah, again, I think it will either be Lacrima back, Moon banned, Lacrima back, High Wave King banned. That's kind of what I would see happening, in my opinion. Anyway, True Tactic Talents and True Tactics Frost. I feel that, well, obviously with Frost Talents, if anything, it would be banned. I don't think they're going to ban it. I think it's going to be no change. That being said, I would not be shocked in the slightest if this became a semi-limit or a limit. I don't think it will, but if it happened, I wouldn't be completely lost. Highwave King is an important piece of any end board. Don't get me wrong, if you give me the option to make Highwave King, I'm going to make it. The card is cracked good. I love the card. I would play it in DDDs, I would play it in Unchained, I would play it in Yugioh where you have easy access to it. The fact of the matter is, it could become very, very abused very quickly. Especially if Lacrima comes back. My biggest issue is, if Lacrima comes back, that's just a nightmare. So, I mean, if you ban Neko Quip, Lacrima is still easy made. I suppose with Lacrima, it still makes you put those cards in the grave. Did we ever have Lacrima, the fusion monster, with Lacrima the monster? Did we ever get either of those? Did we have those at the same time? I can't remember. I swear we lost Lacrima Fusion and then got Lacrima the monster, I think. Anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if they limit it. I don't think they will. Branded Fusion, it's not going to come back to free straight away. But if it did, happy bloody days. I feel they could semi-limit it. Now, remember, in October, they're giving us the Chronicle decks. So someone else mentioned this, Chris. Is there... I don't get me wrong. I'm not... This isn't a hypothetical. But what has changed for OSS to come back? Unlimit Brilliant Fusion. Yeah, you could unlimit Brilliant Fusion, to be honest. I don't think that anyone needs 3 copies of it. So, yeah, I could see Brilliant Fusion coming back to free. Master Duel has what? Is Master Duel has 3 Branded Fusion? Anyway, I can see Branded Fusion being semi-limited. We do get the Chronicle decks in October. I would be amazed if there's not a Branded Fusion in there. They could also make an alternate art for Branded Fusion if they really wanted to. I can see it being semi-limited, and it could be one of the ones that gets trickled back to free. What I love about the branded strategy is that every good duelist that plays branded has adapted to not have to rely on it. Branded Fusion, Brilliant Fusion works well with branded. Does it? I suppose it would in a hybrid. Anyway, I'm pretty much at the end of the list now. These are like your requests. Electromite would only come back to 1. Do I think it's going to happen? No, sadly. It's just, I think this is one of the ones that's just got lost in the dirt. They don't seem to be leaning into pendulums as much as they used to be. So, Fusion. Master Duel has it. Yeah, I mean, like in the TCG, did we ever have both of them together? Meow Mew again would come back as 1. I don't think they're going to do it. This card should so be coming back. It's been there for so long. Crazy. Kit Kalos, I don't think it's coming back. I honestly don't. I think it'd be crazy to do that. Barrage, I could see coming back to 3, or Rapier, or both. Like, both of these could come back. With no Trident and no Broadball, like, this isn't really doing a huge amount. So, I could see them being unlimited, but, yeah, it doesn't really bother me too much. Let me just double check. What are... Dryas doesn't... Free Kit Kalos. Dryas doesn't deserve the limit. I don't think Branded Fusion will come off with Dracotal. It's cracked, especially after we get the light Dracotal. So, I don't think it will come off completely. I can see it being up to 1 copy. I don't think it is cracked with Dracotal. It's good with Dracotal. But like you've just said, like there's no Dark Dracotal, right? There's Mululu in the main deck, and then we get the new one, which is a light. But some of the Dracotal variants actually want to use more than just Fusion. Like, I feel that if you wanted to play Branded Fusion at 1, you could do right now. You just play more Alubas. If it comes back at 3, which I agree with you would be a little bit too much. From a business standpoint, yes. From a gameplay standpoint, no. I mean, from a business standpoint, I could see it coming back to 2. Like, 2 wouldn't shock me at all. And slowly do it. So, any hit to Crystron, like limit Crystron Incursion. I did think about this very briefly. Maybe Incursion is the right one. I couldn't think of what card on the Crystron strategy would be the right one to hit. But maybe you are right. Maybe Incursion is the right one. Do I think Brilliant Fusion can come up to 2? Yeah, I do. I do. I think Brilliant Fusion is like, it's kind of done its bit now. Like it's kind of been power crept a little bit. So I don't think it's that big of an issue. So yeah. Crystal Incursion. Hitting Crystal would be crime. I mean, Krishan's in a bit of a weird place right now. What I mean by that is, if you were to take this list as a collective, so I tell you what, so this is the overall end, and what I'm going to do before I end this, I'm going to narrow this down to what I think is going to be the most logical hit. So I feel, for the K9 Vanquish Soul strategy, Paired Eye Smasher is logical. Makes sense to me, okay? I'm not going to even really talk about this. This will make sense. Do I think they're going to bring back Diagram? No. Okay, I'll tell you what. This isn't going to happen. I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think that's 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 going to happen. I don't think this is going to happen yet. This is way overdue, but I don't think that's going to happen. 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 And I don't think... that's going to happen. This is what I feel could possibly... is the most logical to happen. So you've got a Malice hit with Splash Mage. You've got a Vanquish K9 Soul Splash hit with this. You've got a Yummy hit with this. You've got a Mitsurugi hit with this. You've got a Consistency hit, which they just seem to like to do. And then they've got a Fiendsmith hit here. Is there anything I haven't hit directly that is unbalanced? Nothing for Risia on the list. So the Risia, I did have Detonator. But like pure Risia, in my opinion, isn't to the level that it once was. So the best Risia variant is with Mitsurugi's, and I think that Mitsurugi's would be a hit of something like that. So I think Chaos Space will happen with Black and White Collapse going to 3. It makes sense to give consistency back to Draco. It does make sense, but I don't think I've ever seen a time where they've gone, we're going to give you back your 2 dragons back to 3 now and Chaos Space. I think they'll get the 2 dragons back first and then maybe Chaos Space on the next one. Frost won't happen, and I think the list will be close. Yeah, I'm hoping this doesn't happen, but I would not be shocked if it did happen. Like, it's kind of just one of them ones. I don't think they'd ban Moon. I think they're just limiting Graver, since drawing it really isn't good unless they have more Fiendsmith cards. So what are you saying about Christian that is a weird place? So what I mean about Christian is they're in this space right now where they're not dominating like the other meta decks. So if you look at like Yummies, if you look at Vanquish Soul K9s, if you look at Malice, and if you look at like Mitsurugi, for example, right? It's not on that level like dominating, because only very specific players are utilizing the deck and playing the deck in the right way. So it's in this weird place where it's kind of not in the direct spotlight, and when it is featured, there's no direct single card, in my opinion, that I can look at and go, hit that, and the deck becomes substantially weaker. And I feel that if you hit too much of it, it becomes too weak that the deck doesn't maintain its level. What you kind of want to do in this upcoming list, for the upcoming format, is you want to go, right, Yummies are too dominant, take them back a step by hitting an old card. If we take that deck back a step, we've got to take the other decks back a step as well. Otherwise, one's going to dominate the others. Does that make sense? I think it's too early to hit K9s. I think maybe Paired Eye Smasher is a collateral hit, but even with Crystons, like, you don't need to go into Paired Eye Smasher. I think actually people will be more relieved with Paired Eye Smasher banned than anything else, to be fair. I just don't know if it needs it, if I'm being honest. Like, I could see Crystron being left alone and be absolutely fine. Like, I don't think they're as unbalanced as the rest. And keeping in mind that Yummy would still be like top end, Draco Tails will still do well, Canine variants will still do well, Vanquish Soul Canine would still do well. Like, the decks wouldn't change, and I honestly don't think Crystrons need to get hit. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, they just don't really need to be hit. Do you think Baron DeFloor can come back? No. It's a shame, but Baron DeFloor should never have been a generic level 10 synchro. Baron, the fact of the matter is as well, the fact that Baron says negate, and then during the standby phase, even though I can't negate anymore, I'm just going to tag out, was so silly. It should have said use a Fleur Synchron, like a Fleur Synchron, or a Fleur Tuner. That's so what it should have been. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel that, like, Paired Ice Smasher is such one of them ones where you're like, oh, I don't want to, like, no disrespect, but you're like, oh, I don't want to think, Paired Ice Smasher, easy win, make it. And you're like, that was terrible. Should never have done it. Yeah, see, Wasabi gets it. It should have been a plant synchro. It should have been, like, so much more thing. Cyber Dragon Nova ban. Hell no. Leave Cyber Dragons alone. They've done nothing wrong. My hot take is that Lingaribo should be banned, and that is coming from a Malice player. That wouldn't shock me, actually. That wouldn't actually shock me. Where do you put talent? Talent only gets banned. It doesn't come back to 2 or 3. There's no way about that. I don't think it gets banned. No, talent's there. I just had double talents because I was a dope. Free Link Karibo. No, because Yummy can abuse Link Karibo, right? You think Yummy will be hit with Hornet Drones? I think Yummy will be hit with either Hornet Drones or Obedience Schooled or Herald. I'd rather it not be Herald. I don't really mind if it's Obedience Schooled. But Drones is the closest to the chopping block, so they could just ban Drones and be done with it. The only downside of banning Drones is it then just opens up slots for them. It makes it easier for them. And I suppose if you were to limit Obedience School, they just open up with like droplets, or they just open up, use that open spaces for droplets and frost, right? Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I think I'm kind of happy with this. I would not be entirely shocked if the above happened. Yeah. I think more will happen. Like, that's not going to be the only changes. More will happen. I just don't know how much more happens. Engage to 1. I don't think Engage goes to 1 because they actually really like Sky Strikers. They want to, like, I would want to push Sky Strikers as well. So Engage is more pivotal to Strikers. And if you were, this is what's quite funny, is ironically, if you were to ban Drones, then the Engage as a 4-card engine for Malice or for Malice or Yummies or whatever just becomes non-existent. So it doesn't really, like, banning Drones is probably like the best thing for Striker players, if I'm being honest. And yeah, with Marshmallow they get 3 more. Marshmallow they get 3 more anyway. So that would also be quite interesting because if you were to limit Obedience School, those 2 spaces open up for 2 more Marshmallows. So that would actually like push the sale of Doom and Dimensions possibly. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up now because I'm going to go have some dinner. But thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully this has been quite informative. Hopefully this has given you a bit of an idea on possible things. Agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments down below what you kind of think will change on the list. I always like Banlist predictions when there is discussion to be made, because unless you're saying something absolutely crazy like Maxi back to 3, why? Just because. Or Pot Agreed back to 3, why? Because I like to see chaos. That's fine. But if you're serious about that, not happening. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens on the upcoming list. I personally don't think it's going to happen till the end of October, but you just never know. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Have a very good rest of your evening. I will catch you up on all of the future videos as well. There will not be a live stream next week as I'm away for a friend's stag do, so congratulations to them. But there will be more content coming up throughout the week anyway to keep you well and truly entertained. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Have a very good rest of your evening. Stay safe and above all else, happy dueling.